we have a moment while we're waiting for this. We still have to add our butter to the chocolate. And now's the time really when we want to turn on the oven.
A few moments later.
But what temperature would you recommend?
I would normal baking temperature, which is 325 to 350 degrees, depending on your oven.
Okay.
Now, the brownies are not going to take long because we want to underbake them, okay? They're still going to be like a little soft in the center,
Right.
Somewhat wet, and that's, once those cool, then they still stay nice and fudgy in the center.
Okay.
That's what we're looking for. So, okay, so now how long have I been gathering? 45 seconds?
Yeah.
Look at the difference in this already, even though it's on medium. See, it doesn't take long.
No?
Gets nice and light. So we'll let this go. Now I'm thinking that by the time I get done adding the butter to that chocolate, this is probably going to be just about ready. So let's open these up. And if I need to, I can always pop this back in the microwave for 30 seconds.
Right.
Or 15 seconds, whatever the case may be. Okay. Nice and soft. Guess I could have gotten a little bit bigger bowl.
Live dangerously. Why
yeah,
not,
live
right?
on the edge, right? It makes it more interesting. I am going to need to melt this though. Actually, it is pretty warm still. Now, actually, if this sits here, it'll probably just melt right in.
Okay.
So I'll just, actually what I should do is just leave it alone.
Let her rest.
Yeah, so we're just going to leave that alone. Here, let me put this over here, because if that flops out, it's going to make a mess. Okay, so I have a moment. I might as well get my pan ready, right?
Yeah.
So here we go. Just happen to have it all set to go. Now, when I do my brownie pan, I'm just going to spray the edge. There we go. Because I'm going to use this parchment paper. Notice I'm at least 2 inches in on all sides, but it's dry in the center. Okay. Now, if I were to spray the whole thing, what you're going to have is a big seal in between the paper and the pan. So
But you don't want that.
It's going to be much harder to get out of the pan later on after the fact, after the baking process.
Okay.
So by just doing the edge, it makes it a lot easier to get out of the pan. Okay, so now I'm just going to make sure that the paper is up against the contours of the pan.
Okay.
All nice and tight. There we go. Now we'll just let this sit off to the side. Oh, look at that. That's beautiful. Almost there.
Nice and fluffy.
And let's see what this is doing here. Yep, see all these, this is all melted butter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I am going to just tap it off real quick with about 15 seconds, I believe.
Okay.
So, excuse me one moment. Alright. Yeah, if this wasn't so full, I would just, you know, kind of wrestle it smooth, but I don't want to make a mess, like I said.
Alright.
Okay, that was really the perfect amount, because it's not just the butter that I wanted to try and melt. I warmed up the entire contents of the bowl, and that will melt the butter in. Okay, see, so look at that. That's how quick it's going in. So if I let that sit for about another 10 seconds, 15 seconds, I'm sure it'll be just about done. All right. Leave those there.
And a good idea is always clean as you go.
It is, it is.
Makes it a lot easier.
Sure. Okay, now, again, let's take a look at the bowl. Look at how nice and light and frothy that is now.
Oh,
Isn't that just beautiful?
Yeah.
Hard to imagine that's just eggs and sugar.
Right.
And a little vanilla. So, okay. So I believe that
It looks like the chocolate mixture's just about ready.
Yeah, even though it's not perfectly smooth, all that is a teeny tiny little piece of soft butter, and that's going to finish mixing right in as we just fold everything together.
Okay.
All right, so we get as much off the spatula as we can, or the whisk, excuse me. Okay, for this I'm going to actually turn this off. Lift it up.
Okay.
I would normally pour it in slowly on the side, but I don't want to make a mess of it. So we'll just do it all at once.
Just a quick pour.
Just a quick pour, just like that. See that one little chunk of butter?
Mm-hmm.
That's not going
that'll
to be
mix right
anything
in.
to worry about, yeah. Okay. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay, so now look at that swirl right in. That's what you want to watch. Okay. Now a little trick, I'm going to lift this just a touch, and what it does is it catches from the top and pulls it down to the center.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. See now let's see how it's mixing in quicker now.
Yeah. Because it sounded like the motor was straining just a hair.
Well, it's been on.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's one thing. You don't want to stress your mixers. So, okay. See now, the idea of fluffing the eggs and the sugar like this, and then adding the chocolate butter mixture to it, is to create fluffiness and volume. So, now that's just about ready. It's not completely smooth, but we still need to mix in the flour. So, what we're going to want to do is scrape the bottom. Okay, just like we always do.
Okay.
It's very rare that you don't. Okay, so now what we want to do is make sure that whatever was in the bottom has been brought up to the top. And like I said, I like to scrape right here on the utensil here.
Okay.
And then have something to put your dish in. Okay, so now let me reach behind you here. Put this over here. Quick wipe, because we don't want brownie batter on the bottom of our pan before it goes in the oven. That just makes it hot. Okay, so notice I've just been letting this drip.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now I'm not going to bang it. If I bang it, then I'm going to lose volume, and we don't want to do that.
Okay.
So now I'm going to take 1 cup and 2 cups, and now I'm going to just whisk it. I'm basically folding it together.
Okay.
Okay. Now what I'm doing is I'm going up and then I'm turning it over. See? Like this.
Yeah.
See, that way you just want it to fall through.
Okay.
Okay. See, like that. Now once you don't see much flour anymore, see how the flour is starting to disappear, the dry flour?
Yeah. And the
Okay.
mixture's starting to get thick.
It's tightening up. Now I feel where the thin spots, the thin spots are and the thick spots are. So I'm obviously working from the thick to the thin, see, so that everything passes through. And the idea, again, is to mix it as little as possible. By mixing it as little as possible, you retain the maximum amount of volume.
Gotcha.
Okay?
Okay.
So we're going to call that done, even though you still see a few specks of flour. That's fine. Okay, now I'm going to bang it right here. There we go. So we'll put
Which
this
makes
here.
sense because the batter's going there anyway.
Yep, it makes sense. And then I'm not banging on the bowl and losing volume.
Okay.
Okay, so now we'll just drop that right on. Oh, look at that. Oh yeah. Now it looks like a lot,
Mm-hmm.
but it's actually going to melt down, cook down,
Right.
so to speak. might as well just use the spatula.
Okay.
And it doesn't need to be perfect because in the oven it's going to level out.
Right, it's going to spread anyway.
Yes. Okay. Careful about that.
Hit.
Okay, see how it's just, by the time you get it spread out, it doesn't really look like it's too much for the pan anymore.
Right.
Okay. And you want it to be nice and even. Now, for this, okay, it looks like my low spot's about right here, so I'm just gonna do a little one of these, and then another one of these, and we'll call that good.
Okay.
Okay, so now, some folks like walnuts. I personally like my brownies nice and plain, but I'm gonna take and put some brownies on part of this. Okay. And now, if I just sprinkled them and left them on top, that would be great, but they would actually burn in the oven. So, what I want to do is actually push them in.
Okay.
Okay, notice I did not do this for the whole batch because I don't want walnuts through the whole thing. Okay, so if you just do this right here, now everyone's happy. Those folks that like the nuts can have theirs, and those folks that like them nice and smooth can have theirs on the other side. Okay, now even though this looks kind of rough, it doesn't make any difference. It's still going to bake the same.
Right.
Okay.
It'll settle down in the oven anyway.
Yeah, it'll melt smooth. Okay, so now we're ready to bake them.
All right, folks, and this is the halfway point. And as you can see, it looks a lot different now than when it initially went in.
Everything's all nice and gooey.
See how level that turned out?
Look at that.
Still jiggly.
Still jiggly.
So it gotta cook.
Okay.
So this is gonna go for a few more minutes, and then we'll be back to pull her out. Okay, and we're back. And these should be done.
Oh, they're perfect. Okay, so notice that the whole thing looks like it's grown a little bit.
Yeah.
It looks a little spongy almost.
Yep.
Now, I'm gonna give it a little shake, see how it all, it doesn't really shake around, it doesn't jiggle.
Right.
It jiggles a little bit, but the whole thing is moving. That means that it's all baked together.
Right.
Okay, so, see how it feels nice and soft underneath, but you got a little bit of a skin on top?
Yeah.
Okay,
Just a little spongy.
That means it's going to be nice and fudgy and gooey down in the bottom
Okay.
when we eat them later. So, we'll pull these out. We'll let them sit. And now we're going to need to let them cool before we can take them out of the pan. So, I guess we'll need to make some chocolate fudge to go on these. So maybe we'll do that next time. And we'll finish them off and make them all yummy and ready to present. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll look forward to next time. Thank you.